Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the North East Non-League Show, sponsored by Beerwatch TV, Southern West End, Durham City AFC, Jade Bell, and proud to support If You Care Share Foundation. Join us now for our next Look and Back With. We have Craig Robson. Craig, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
No problem, mate. Looking forward to it. Like I say, it'd be a bit funny talking about yourself, but it's spot on, mate. I'm looking forward to getting it out there.
No, it's good memories. I think this was the one where we've kind of put out, and we always get a few kind of likes and shares, but we put this out, and within 2 or 3 days, it was nearly hitting 100 likes on you. I was thinking, wow, this is going to be something special. I mean, we're nearly hitting double figures already. I think it's just nice to see the comments that were coming in as well. It was amazing, really, wasn't it?
It was my mum and dad, really, were all different accounts and that, like logging in and all that. But do you know what? That's the beauty about football, I think, as well. When you like play, it's all the people you meet along like the years, different teams you play for and come across. And like I always say, I think it's the best sport in the world for meeting people and the fans, the committee and stuff like that. And it's obviously what they've said and that, and obviously they're grateful for and stuff like that. It's really nice, like.
No, really good. But I know we've got Ian Davison. He's normally on the show with us for the Tomb Review. He's got us on the big TV tonight, he says. So I hope you're watching there.
He's just been sending some messages there, like.
Yeah, getting back to the your early days, and obviously for a 3-year periods in the early 2000s at Newcastle. How old were you when you kind of got into that, and did you enjoy your time at the club?
Yeah, do you know what? The whole process of getting into a club it wasn't the normal of just like being a young lad, being 8, 9, 10-year-old and all that, and getting through the academy and going through that. Like, yeah, I worked hard to get there. To be honest, I was, like any kid wanted to play football. It was my dream. I think I was 15, yeah. I'm from Gateshead, so I've been playing over Gateshead. Nothing was really happening for us. I mean, my dad, his parents do, they want the best for you and like, trying out the best avenues. He says, look, why don't we try over the water? Try a different club. And we tried for Montague. I mean, I had a trial there. Absolutely breaking it, to go there, 16-year-olds. And it just like training sessions, getting in, and all the quality players that were there was like a step above compared to what I was playing before. Yes, I had like Richard Offion, Chopper had come from there. All the lads had been to clubs and stuff like that, and so I could tell the difference straight away. So from not having any interest of football clubs in my first junior years of playing football, I went to Montague, and it was like instantly as soon as I started playing, I think it was because I wasn't from wrong. I was like, oh, who's this lad? And straight away I was getting interest of clubs and stuff like that. So I ended up going to Scunthorpe, first of all, and I was there for about 6 months, and it was just, it was fantastic, great experience. I was absolutely buzzing to be there, and, obviously dreaming, I was wanting to be a part of it. Unfortunately, never worked out. Got released from there, and not long after that, I had a trial at Leicester City, and that was like, from Scunthorpe to that was a massive step above. And to be honest, mate, I was out of my depth, looking at it and just clippers. I was like, for what I want to do, I need to, put that extra work and work as hard as I can. 16-year-old at the time, and it's tough to try and find clubs at that age and stuff. Yeah. But it was a great experience. That I remember it well because they just won the League Cup. Leicester City, they won it on the Sunday, and I was training on the Monday. All the first team, and I was always remember being in good spirits. And unfortunately, it never happened there either. So, like, literally leaving school, I got a job as a printer. Literally just working. I was playing 3 games of football on a weekend. I was playing for Dunstan Fed under 18s. I was playing for Lewisham Lane men's football. And I think so. I was playing with like Billy Irwin, Alou, Johnny Brown. Loads of players. The list goes on. Really, lads who played like non-league football, and they were my heroes, mate, looking at them, because they were proper good footballers, tough people that knew the game inside out. And then I went to Walker Central on a Sunday afternoon, the under 18s, and it was from there where I got picked up. There was a guy there called Brian Clark, who was a football scout who had to do with Gaza, Lee Clark, Shola. He's renowned around there, really, Brian. And he come up, and he was just instantly took a liking to us, and he was giving us a pat. And really, I think I knew he was a scout for Newcastle, but you just think it's Newcastle, never going to happen. I'm the age I'm at, and after a few games, he was just like, "Look, I've got you a trial at the club." I couldn't believe it, basically. And luckily enough, my boss, Michael, who I worked with at the time at the printer, he was absolutely spot on, give us a time off work. So I went, had my week's trial, it's daunting. Like, people going into clubs and that, it's people that don't talk to you. When you go there, at the end of the day, I'm trying to take a spot off them.
Exactly.
So, you're going in, it's like new kid at school kind of thing, no one talking to you, standing in the corner. So it's just, it was nerve-wracking. The same grace, luckily, when I played with Offiong at Monty, he was the only one I knew. So I kind of broke ice like that, but it was tough. So, but I done well in my first week. I got invited back a few weeks later to go back for another week. Same again. And they said, look, we'll bring you along for a 6-week trial. So I'd done that and when training with them, getting into it properly and stuff like that, the fitness levels were, they were a joke. And that was the main thing. That was the main thing for us getting into it. I remember joining in the first week, like when I had my 6-week trial, it was just after Christmas and the New Year. So there would it was a bit of a pre-season. And we're doing I think we had to do 8 400s. I must have lasted about 3, mate, and I was on the floor. Honestly, I was thinking, Derek White was there, had to carry us off the pitch. I was absolutely struggling. I remember, and I was just lying in the middle of the change room afterwards. But the lads were all howling at us. But as time went on, the fitter I got, full-time training with them, and my touch was getting better and everything. Just the more confident I got, and and with the games coming in and stuff like that, I just done well. And I done, obviously, thankfully enough, I done well in contract with them, which was God, it was ridiculous when I think about the club who you're absolutely there and stuff like that. You're not in the first team, but you're still part of that club. You're part of something there that really, you've dreamed of all your life. And to be that, and the age I was at, just before I turned 17, it was just special. And obviously having my parents there the day that I signed, it was just, that's for me, it's obviously answering the question early, but for me, I think it's the best moment I could have had in football, really.
I bet,
No, it was different class,
really good. Some great memories, like you say. I mean, just looking back at it, and like you say, it's you love the club, and then you get to go and train with them. You sign your contract, and you always see it now, even with the younger lads that are signing for the club, and they always have the parents around them signing it. It's just so special for not just for the player, but for the family, isn't it? Everyone that's from that area, it means so much to them, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know. The only thing I look back now, obviously, social media is massive. Back then there was help, mate. Do you know what I mean? We're still using a payphone and stuff like that. So it's there was these phones that you could have took pictures. I've not got no pictures like that or anything. But it's obviously something that sticks with us. And I think the older you get, the more you probably appreciate it, to be honest. It's kind of looking back at it now. I'm part of a former players association with the club now, and it's kind of meeting lads who've similar age to me, but yet there's ones who've been from years and years ago, and kind of, it's not the fact all of them played, but they've all had some affiliation with the club, and it's great. It's like a family, really, and it's kind of opens all avenues for you. But the fact that they're just they've got something like that in place where you can reconnect after years with other people and hear different stories of the older ones. It's just it's really good that they do that.
No, it's good to keep it going, because I know you mentioned Richard Offey in there as well, and when we sent out some questions, we've had about nearly 60 plus players now do it, and a few players like Richard, when we messaged him, he's kind of said, well, I didn't play for Newcastle, I was like, but you've it doesn't matter if you played youth football, reserve football, first team, 1 game, 100 games, you've played for Newcastle United. For a fan, that's amazing. And he was really taken back by it. It was really nice to speak about it, actually.
Do you know what? That's the bloke who does it. It's called Paul Watson. That's his.
He's great, Paul, isn't he?
He just says, look, you're part of this club's history. And when he said it, I was like, wow, you're totally bang on. You're right. I was. And, it's something that I've been lucky enough. And, there's probably thousands that have done it, but there's millions that have dreamed of it, and I'm one of them lucky ones that's actually been able to do that. It's, God, just have some absolute great memories, of being there, playing in the Youth Cup. We played Middlesbrough and Ipswich at St James's Park. Always remember coming out the second half. We played Middlesbrough and we're winning. I think it was the semi-final. I was the first one to come out in the second half, and all the fans were in the East Stand and coming out and all start clapping you. You know, and it was like, even though there was 3,000 there, 4,000, it was like hairs on the back of your neck. You know, it's like, it was just unbelievable, and just something that, like I say, something else that just totally sticks with us all the time.
No, that's great. Obviously, amazing. Even now, I think if you're watching, everyone that's watching as well, we're nearly hitting 20 already, which is absolutely amazing. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe as well and help the channel grow. We're getting on from Newcastle, obviously joining Carlisle. You have your spell there and a loan move to Bishop Auckland as well. Did you enjoy your time after Newcastle? Because I know I've spoken to a few people where they've kind of left the bigger clubs, moving down. They've kind of found it hard to take at first. What was yourself like that?
Nah, do you know what? Obviously, my mum and dad done a good job of, like, you know, keeping us level-headed and stuff like that. Nothing really bothered us, but like, it was just, the difference was straight away, like, you know, from going to Carlisle. What actually happened was, I never actually got released from Newcastle. I asked. I got along with Peter Beardsley and Kenny Wharton quite well, and a lot of lads like Andy Farrell and Offie and stuff like that, they all started to get agents. You know, it was coming towards a time where possibly released or whatever like that. So I asked the question, and they said, "Well, what do you think will happen with you at the end of the thing?" I was like, and I did think it was Alan Irvin was the director then, and I was like, I don't think he really fancies, so I think I'll get rid. Just like, look, I'll sort you out if you want to go have a look at a couple of clubs.
Brilliant.
So I was like, yeah, no problem. So I ended up going to, got in touch and going to Carlisle. And you still there, mate?
Yeah, it just keeps going a little bit. I don't know if it's your connection, but I've got you there. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, sound, yeah. So I ended up going to, I don't know if you heard that anyways, but like Peter Beardsley sorted for us to go to Carlisle. So when I went, like, first time I was there, played a game, we played Mansfield, and funny enough, Scott Sellers was playing for Mansfield. So I was playing centre midfield against Scott Sellers, obviously another he was quality. But I had a really good game, and straight away afterwards, we were like, look, I want to sign you. They've got a great tradition, like Carlisle, of giving young players a chance and, you know, getting transfers on, stuff like that. So went back to Kenny and Peter, I was like, what do you think? And they totally for us, like, you know, go for it. But like going there, when training a few days after that, it was like where Newcastle, you went, we had a kit man, Paul Brown, he was an absolute top man. Your kit was all folded for you, mate, getting in the morning. You know, it was raining, whatever, spares for the afternoon. Went to Carlisle and it was just like, it was like the ramp bin, basically, like, get what you can, do you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And holes and everything and stuff like that, just out to get on. And obviously the training, just train on a school fields, you know, dog shite all over the shop. Honestly, it was just like, the thing was just, it was ridiculous, you know, compared to, and I mean, it's money and everything, but that was the standard of, obviously, from being in the elite, obviously down to that, like the lower levels and stuff like that. But, you know, it didn't phase us or out like that. As long as I was playing football, I was happy.
Exactly, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah. So when I went though, and it was me, and there was a lad called Brian Wake. He played for Towlow actually, and then he went to Towlow. Carlisle signed him from Towlow, and he got a big contract there. But the same, me and him roughly the same time. All went through, and then literally there was a bloke there called Michael Knighton, who was the chairman at the time. He was the one years ago said he was going to buy Man United, but then approved. He had no money, so signed and everything, and they couldn't, as it happens, becoming eligible right for the first team because obviously they had a transfer ban on them and stuff like that. So I left that, and it was a nightmare. I think it was just. But like obviously just bad timing and stuff like that. But you know, the manager was giving us all, I signed like a year and a half, and he was just like giving us all right vibes. Look, next year, get in, we'll sort you out. You know, like, you know, we'll be in the first team as soon as we get it sorted, we'll get this owner out. So I was just hoping he was giving us all a positive feedback, basically. And then next year, new owner come in. It's just literally getting players from Premier League clubs on loan. I mean, the biggest name we got Leon Osman, and that centre midfielder. Yes. He was a centre midfielder, you know, and it was just we had Mark Somerville who played for Middlesbrough in the Premier League. Like, these were dropping down into that. They were getting good money, and kind of just pushed me to the side. Gives you confidence and not in that basically as well. But
definitely,
you know, it was I just obviously had to keep going and stuff like that. And I remember I was playing for like the reserves, and I was still just doing extra. Basically, that was what I was about. I just loved my training. So as much as I could put in all the time, like anything after out like that, say if the first team finished training, I'll go and train with the youth team in the afternoon. It was just that's the way I was, like, and that's, I think, how a lot of people took a shine. It was just I had a decent attitude in that sense. So, but it was non-competitive really. So I'm still at an age now, and I'm like, I've never really played competitive football. So I spoke to Beardsley again, just asked his opinion, and he just says, "Look, I've got a friend up who manages in the Unibond, which would be like what Spenny are in now and stuff like that."
Yeah.
It's Brian Honor. He's manager at Bishop Auckland. Do you want to go there and get some games in on loan? So I went there, and mate, I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved playing. You can go around, and it was like competitive, like, well, near the bottom, to be fair, when Brian took over, and he ended up getting like mid-table. But just know that feeling when it, like, to win when it actually means something and stuff like that. It was just
definitely.
It was great to experience that. And he was Brian was. You knew where you stood with him and stuff like that. He demanded nothing but like 100% off you. And I absolutely loved playing for him. To be honest, he made probably played some of my best football at a young age. And when I was there, obviously I was on loan from Carlisle. I was getting loads of interest from other clubs. I couldn't get nowhere near Carlisle's team. And, I ended up nearly going to Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough were watching us loads. Hartlepool, Darlington, there's a few others as well but like I was getting close to coming up. Nothing materialised, unfortunately. But that's a type of confidence I was playing with, and I was standing out. And I absolutely loved it. To be fair, when I was there, and like I say, I can't speak enough of Brian, to be honest. He was top bloke, like.
No, really good. Something that really stands out there, which is kind of the next question as well. The help from the coaches at Newcastle. You meant Peter Beardsley, and that was your next move, Carlisle, which I absolutely love. Carlisle to Vancouver. What a move that is. But I know he kind of helped you with that as well. But it's nice for them coaches to kind of be thinking of players still, even though that they might not be making the first team, which I think is great. I mean, how did that all come around? I know Peter was involved, but that must have been some move for yourself. Exciting.
No. Do you know what, like, Beardsley, and obviously with what's happened, I can't say that, but as for myself, like, he's the nicest bloke in football and away from football. He couldn't do enough for anyone. He's always there to help everyone, regardless of anything. And it's just, I could tell you, mate, stories upon stories of him, like, helping me out and stuff like that, and helping other people out. It's just, it's a good bloke. I mean, when he first come in, obviously he hadn't long been, when I was at Newcastle, he hadn't long been finished. He was trained with us still, man. He was ridiculous how good he was. Remember that, like, sliding tackle he used to do and stuff like that. And he used to join him. But now the best thing about him was, it was like, at the end of training, like, the lads used to dart off and stuff like that. He would be running around and collecting all the cones in and getting everyone's bibs and stuff like that. And this is a bloke who's had, he's one of England's most successful players, an absolute legend. And his attitude was just like, you just had to follow that, mate. It was just absolutely brilliant that he was like that. And so he was always there just to help us along. Basically, any advice I needed or anything like that. I mean, still to this day, I still speak with him now, and he's always there helping us. But when it come to Vancouver, he just said look, I've got the opportunity for you to go for a trial around Canada and America. And he was like, you can go to, I've sorted Vancouver, Whitecaps, DC United, and San Jose Earthquakes. So meant to be going on there. It was me, Chrissy Moore, and there was a goalkeeper called Carl Bell. So we all went over to Vancouver together, and it was an experience, just. What I was saying, when we're over there, compared to what people like over here, when you go to clubs, they're like they're unbelievably nice people. Like, they were like inviting us around the homes with the families, making sure we're welcome, dinner and all that. Like, and there was a Geordie fella there actually who was a coach over there, and he knew Beardsley as well.
Right.
So he used to look after her a bit. But Chrissy, I mean, Carl didn't really like it, and he left early. I think he left after about 10 days. I mean, Chrissy were probably there for about a month. And we got the offered with both contracts. And I was like, yeah, I'll sign in. straight away. And Chrissy was like, look, I think you're possibly just doing it for getting an affiliation with Newcastle. And to me, I just didn't care. That experience of going there and stuff like that and playing different football was just amazing, basically. And also, Chrissy he went home in the end. He just went straight back, and I ended up staying over there on my own. I mean, I wish he did stay, to be honest, but wasn't going to work like that. And the next day we signed, it was just like, it was surreal, to be honest, and something I wasn't really ready for. It was like press conferences and stuff like that. Like the Americans, loads of microphones around me, like
I love it, don't I?
And especially with us being from England and stuff, and Peter Beardsley, having that connection with him. So there was loads like that of, to get used to, and it was quite a lot to take in. But the football side of things, the standard was really good. They're really, really good over there. They were it was a bit, in the sense of tackle-wise, it didn't really get stuck in like what they did over here, but technically they were brilliant. And because it's so multicultural over there, they've played all over the world. They've played, they had players who played in Brazil, China, Germany, Holland, in some of the top clubs and stuff like that, and the top players. So it was great to play alongside them. I didn't get as much game time as I'd like, to be honest, and that was tough at times. Obviously when you're not playing and you're away from home, it was probably it was tough. Not it's not like obviously you haven't know someone there or a coach to there who knows really what you're like, arm around you, or my dad, who was always there for us to kind of say, look, son, you need to maybe do this, or get your finger out, or whatever like that. You know what I mean? Sometimes just that bit of support. And I probably struggled like that sense, and it was hard, to be honest, with us not playing. But as a whole, the experience, and obviously them players and living over there was like next level, to be honest. And I come away a better person and a much better footballer as well.
Definitely, amazing experience. You then go to join Bishop in 2004, obviously playing almost a full first season in that league. And then still at that time, I know obviously you must be making a name for yourself to trial at Falkirk, but at that time, obviously playing for Bishop and then going on trial was quite a few clubs sniffing around at that point.
It was when I first come back, I signed and I was playing really well in it. It's same again. It looked like Darlow and Hartlepool were. I had things lined up for them to go and have trials. I think I was back for about a month, and I got a bad tackle. I mean, first bad injury, to be honest. There was my ankle ligaments went out, went over on them, and I was out for a couple of months. And from that, I never really knew the impact it would have on us when I come back. That sharpness of, obviously I've always been playing, I've been full time for 3-4 years. Then, I've been injured to try and build that up again. It took us a while to try and get back. So the back end of the season, I was playing well again, and as it happens, Falkirk, when it come around, I had the chance to go back to Carlisle as well.
Right.
But Falkirk were down here on a pre-season, a pre-season tour. So it was just, and I had the option. Basically, it was one or the other kind of thing. And I just thought, I've been to Carlisle, and obviously the experience was good and stuff like that. But, I felt like, I needed to maybe go away from that. So I went to Falkirk.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was a fantastic football club. The manager was called Yogi, John Hughes, played for
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, mate. I was living in the middle of Edinburgh with the chief scout. So I was living with him in his flat in Edinburgh. So, I mean, I was, finishing training, walking around. It was just, it was amazing place and stuff like that.
Class place,
traveling into train with Yogi, going in, and it was just the way he had them playing football was just ridiculous. And it just suited us down to the ground. And I felt at home as soon as I went. I had nothing but good vibes from being there. And I was there for about a month, to be honest. And I played numerous games. I played every position going. I played centre half, left wing back, left midfield, centre midfield, and then I done really well, and I just felt like it was just the right thing for us. I thought, this is my time of getting a good contract and getting settled with the right people. And unfortunately, it never happened, and that's football, unfortunately,
It is. Timing's everything, isn't it?
I know it isn't, but he had a fantastic team. He had a player there actually he played for Trinidad. He's called Russell Latapi. He played for Hibs and he played for Rangers. Google him, mate. If afterwards, I'm not kidding. He was ridiculous how good he was. Like so good. He was like a number 10, tiny. Nowhere near of an athlete. After the game, straight away, sparking up cigars, drinking. Straight away. But honestly, football wise, he was ridiculous. It's one of the players I just think like, wow, like what a good player he was. But like I say, unfortunately, it never happened. I was gutted about that. It took a lot out of us. Like, to be honest, there was and I think from then I kind of thought, I was 21, 22 at the time. And I was like, it's never going to happen now, and it kind of knocked the sales out of us a bit, to be honest, like that.
Yeah, but like you see, after that, obviously Gateshead's come around in 2005. But I remember at the time yourself and Chris Miller signed. Obviously, the chairman then just leaves not long afterwards. Derek Bell in charge, who I've met a few times because I've actually been with Paul Watson for a couple of games, and lovely Derek as well. Yeah, really good. I know we spoke about it, and I always said he was trying to put a team together so close to the first game of the season. But at that point, as a group of players, was it tough, or did you kind of think, well, everyone's against us, we're going to fight on together? What was it like at that time? Obviously, chairman leaving so close, put a team together.
Do you know what? When went in that, my mum and dad had a pub, and Derek come in like talk. I was still after Falkirk, I was still at Bishop Auckland, where pre-season that looked like I was going to go back there, and Derek come in like his Gateshead tie on and his briefcase, and that looked all important. And literally, I was Hartlepool was like where we're training for Bishop's a long way. Gateshead's on my doorstep, and they were like double me money to kind of what I was on at Bishop's. So I thought, champion, really go there. Me and Moazi agreed. I played the last pre-season game. I played Moazi never. He just watched. He was in the changing but watched. And then the couple of days later, the chairman gone, all the money gone. So Moazi was like, stuff this. He went back to Bishop Auckland. And I thought, you know what? I just thought, right, I just thought I'm going to be loyal. I've given me word to Derek, Alan, his brother, I'm going to stay there. And so literally getting paid pennies for what you are really for traveling around the country and stuff like that. But honestly, mate, it was like we're just all young lads. So it was James Curtis was there. I'm trying to think who else. Richard Flynn was there. I don't know if you remember Flynn.
Yes, Flynn.
Paul Taylor come. I think we signed him from Seaham, and he was a bit unknown. I think but like a hell of a goal scorer. Could just score like. Now, it's just one of them. I had the knack being in the right place at the right time. And we got walloped, I think, 4-5 now in our first game. But, I think we kind of knew the situation when it was going to be tough, but we just stuck together. And the next game, we ended up beating, I think it was Wakefield we beat. Actually, we got to beat Wakefield, and then we played Bishop Auckland, drew with them. And we're picking up points. We're getting bad at the odd time, but we're picking up points. We're doing all right. And the fact that we're just young lads and we're all we had great crack together. So kind of, on the bus trips come back, obviously just cracking open the drink and stuff like that. And just, the banter was flying. Soon as it got the bus stop, we're just changing the change. I'll get the taxis over to town. We just had great togetherness there. And that's what good changing rooms do. At times, it's not just about, having a good change room will get you that extra few points throughout the season. And that's what we had. And we're dead lucky that we had that. Because you could have come in, we couldn't have been like that, but we did. I mean, obviously, James was, obviously still playing now. He was just different class, James Curtis. Just an absolute great lad as well. And obviously we had Tails up front scoring goals. But then as the season went on, we started to get a few more players. Back, like Harra come back, Stevie Harrison, a great player. Tomo came back. Tomo was obviously a different class as well. And just so I think having that youth and a bit of experience, it just helped her even push on that little bit more. There was a good blend there.
No, really good. Some great memories so far. Just before we move on, I'm just going to say now we're hitting almost 24 now, which is absolutely fantastic. Any comments, get them in as well. We'll get them read out at the end as well. But again, thank you everyone for tuning into the channel tonight. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. as well. It's free to do, and it helps the channel grow massively, as well as we support the non-league football. Just moving on now, and after obviously spending your time at Gateshead, the 2006 season between then Bishop and Benton Terriers, at that point then, was it kind of that age where you were just trying to find the right club that suited yourself and kind of then moving on to the next step?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I love Gateshead, but it come to the fact where I wasn't really getting in. Alan had left, and Tom Wade had come in. And sometimes, I had a bad injury and it was kind of with me knee. And whether he fancied or not, or I just wasn't his type of footballer, I don't know.
Yeah.
It didn't work out, and got loads of time for Tom. He's an absolute great bloke, and he was bang on. He was honest enough to advise us to probably move, that it wasn't really working. I think that's great, because a lot of people would just keep you hanging on because they want that number there for you. But exactly. He's dead honest, and I've got loads of respect for him for that. So then I went back to Bishop's again and started to do really well. Like I say, Brian just had that knack of literally getting the best out of us. He just made his feet feel 10 foot tall, basically, and just felt like I was the main man. It was just, I had that just really good connection with him when playing. And then just out of the blue, he resigned. And it was just, and I felt like the club just lost a bit of its heart, really, from that, because he was a massive part of it. And it was quite sad, and the team kind of just seemed to disperse. So I stayed for a little bit, and it just didn't feel the same. So I thought I'd try something else, and I dropped down to the non-league. I knew at the time I worked with Dean Gibb. Obviously, there's a few of the old school Bedlington lads there. So it was Dean Gibb, and it was John Milner there. It was a great player there. I think he was called Mickey Cross. He used to play centre mid. He was a fantastic footballer as well. Some of these had played in that, the FA Cup runs they had and stuff like that, years ago. They were fantastic footballers. And there was also Preen, Stevie Preen was there, Gareth McAlinden, Robbo was there, Paul Robson was there, who's obviously still, I think he's still kicking around now. So we had some good players. But I don't know, I just didn't feel right there, to be honest. I stayed for the rest of the season. But then after that, I was looking to move on, to be honest. I just didn't feel comfortable there. I was up to my best, basically. Yeah,
and like you say, you say you look around looking for the right club, and you found it in Consett. You moved there in 2007, and apart from a spell at right, and you spent a good 7-8 years there. And this is kind of when it must have been about 14, 15. This is when I really started getting into non-league football, absolutely loving it. Around this time, I mean, your time at Consett, did you instantly fell in love with the club?
Do you know what? Consett, it was a funny one, mate, because I did absolutely love my time, but I had a bit of an up and down time there as well. Probably it was more, even though me and Kenny got along mint, I think on football terms, sometimes, obviously he had an opinion of us that maybe he wasn't up to it at times, but so when I first went, it was great. I loved the way Kenny got them to play football. Obviously Consett was massive pitch. It was horrendous, but he always encouraged the lads to play. And it was good. And mate, I had a hell of a team. The fact of Mickey Mackay was still playing. I think he scored about 44 goals before Christmas. He was unbelievable. Like Davy Pounder, just different class. Gary Ormston, brilliant. Peter at the back. Peter was just great lad. He's obviously from the same village. As well, and over time obviously become great friends with him. He was just a fantastic captain throughout, even at a young age. He kind of kept that club together, I think, really, in that team. He was the main man. I think without that team, they would have kind of fell apart. So when I first went, I struggled to get in the team, to be honest, till it was literally they had no choice but to put us in at the back end of the season. And then I getting in, I'd done really well. But the fact I hadn't played much, I didn't feel like Kenny had that trust in us. I was like, I didn't know if I'm going to stay. But just the more, I think I played the last 10 games, it was just the way they played, and they were all good lads and stuff like that. I thought, right, I'll stick with it next season. And that's when, the next season, I think we come second. We had a good Vars run. Probably the best team I played in, to be honest. We had Matty Moffat and Stevie Johnson up front were just ridiculous.
Goals guaranteed, isn't it?
I think we scored about 160 goals that year, and then between them two, they scored over 100. You know, they were just, Matty would score 4, then Stevie would go and score 4, and like, you know, they were just, it was like a competition between themselves, but they weren't just goal scorers, they were just great grafters as well, you know, and that's, they put the work rate in, they just had a great, like, partnership up top. And obviously, Pico was brilliant at the back. We had John Joe in midfield, was unbelievable. Brownie, you know, again, Prof was just a great footballer. Gary Ormston. The list just goes on, to be fair. Like, and also the goalkeeper, Craig Turns, I have to give him a mention as well, because he was class. Best goalkeeper played with, hell of a goalkeeper. You know, it was the best team. And to be honest, we should have won something that year. We got absolutely robbed in the Vos away to Mersham. We were winning 2-0, and it was 5 minutes to go. It was one of them where one of their players went down. No, one of our players went down, sorry. They've took a throw in back in where I think they're just going to kick it back or whatever like that. One of them just went in, like, got across the ball and just scored into an empty net. We were like, you know, and scored from that. And the next one was they give a penalty in the last minute, you know, which was never a pen, and Pico ended up getting sent off. It was just, it was a tough one to take that. And I think that season, that took the proper wind out of sails, to be honest, because prior to
things changed so much, don't they?
Yeah, to be honest, Durham walked away with the league that year in the end. But early on the season, we beat Durham 3 or 4 out in the league. We beat them the same result in the Vos. You know, we beat them, but then kind of, you see it happening sometimes over the years when teams have them good runs and they get knocked out of the Vos. For whatever reason, it just seems to kind of, the confidence seems to go, you know, and stuff like that, or that buzz goes, and it was a struggle. I mean, we still finished second, but that year was, you know, the end of the season was tough. I think, like, after we just, you know, been so good throughout the rest of the season. Yeah. You know, and Durham in the end, I mean, had fantastic players, to be honest. I mean, as it proves, the team that won that league, they went on. I'm sure that, I can't remember if they got the first round of their FA Cup, but then, like, so Rashad,
Histon, I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like, Made Harrow was there, Louis Dodds, you know, they just had good footballers. And, like, they signed good players. Obviously, like Deva, he's been tons of give him a mention, so I get him in. Deva's, he's a winner, do you know what I mean? And just kind of, it was a great signing, I think, for them to get him in. Like, he's got a great left foot, and he's, like, got a fantastic attitude. And, like, what you see is what you get. They were all brilliant footballers, and the fact of getting someone like him, or, like, you know, keep them going and stuff like that, and win them titles, I think would have been a great signing for them. And clearly was. Obviously, he's got that league, the winners' medal, like, as well. But no, I would say that season was the best team, I think, that I played in, to be honest. The second season, we kind of, I think we come second again, but we lost Matty and Stevie, I think, that season. We got pipped away to Whitley Bay last game of the season. And I think Benfield won it up at Penrith. But obviously, with Durham going up, the league was wide open that year. I think there was about 3 or 4 that could have won the league that really year. Close, wasn't it? Just, really close. But we're just, you know, everyone was dropping points. We'll get beat off everyone, to be honest. And we're 2-0 up in that final game of the season against Whitley Bay. All we had, I think, even if we drew, we would have won. And we ended up getting beat 3-2 in the end, which was obviously just, you know, I was devastating, to be honest. Like, devastating, like.
No, I mean, before we get into some of them seasons there, just a couple of comments coming in. Mark Ritchie, Craig's absolute genius. Genuine lad and a cracking player. Had the privilege to play with him. Superb podcast. Keep it going. All the best, Rico. I know. I always remember when I first got to watch Durham, and it was always myself and a couple of friends behind the net. And his banter with the strikers. He used to miss, and he used to give them banter. It used to be so funny. Like so, that's my first memory of kind of non-league football. Was Mark actually at the games? I probably don't even remember, but yeah, absolutely class lad.
Yeah, Marco's honestly, Marco's absolutely different class. Like, honestly, it's like. Do you know what? Marco as well, playing, like, you look at goalkeepers now, the way they can play football. Marco could do that years ago when it wasn't even that. He's kicking and everything. His distribution was, honestly, was second to none. When you look back and do it, he was ridiculous. And for a little lad, he was just like, for a goalkeeper anyways, he was just brave as anything. His handling was brilliant. He was a top goalkeeper. Like, he's a bit like the Mad Hunt as well, man. Like, off Meat Machine and stuff like that. Like, probably can, but absolute diamond of a kid, like, as well.
I can't remember how it was, but it was three of us, and every time, like, if you made a save or something happened, he goes, "Oh, I got away with that one." Oh, see that save there? It was just good crack. And that's what I remember my first early days of like
Yeah.
non-league football.
No,
Brilliant.
mate, it was absolutely
really
brilliant
good.
in the changing rooms as well. Like, absolute brilliant crap.
Yeah. In Gaza too. Now, I remember the good days at Redruff as well, Rocker. Some great. Say it's just good, nice to talk about memories. That's what it's all about. Absolutely fantastic.
No, definitely, mate.
Really good. But some of the seasons, like you say, you mentioned the 2007-8 season, Durham kind of ran away with the league that year, but then the year after, 2008-2009, like you say, you miss out the title by 1 point, but between yourself, Benfield and Spenny, it was just almost like a 2-point swing. And like you say, I mean, after that last game, how was the lads in the change room? Was the heads down? Was it kind of good? Was it hard to get back from that?
Well, devastated, mate. Everyone was devastated. Like, and it felt like we didn't have the same as good as a team from the year before. And I felt like even the fact that good the year before, I think that we didn't win anything then. I think that took the wind out of sails. Like I say, I felt like we did that next season. We probably made one or two too many changes, you know, like in throughout, and we just didn't. And Matty was I think Matty, he might have went to Durham actually. I think so.
He did join, yeah.
Yeah, I think he did. I think it was one of them where just like, where's Matty? Oh, he just signed for Durham this morning. It was just like, just disappeared. But he was a massive loss for obviously a goal scorer. But I was just it's like anything, like, like them last minute goals and stuff like that. You can't see it, like, you go in the change room, you're devastated, and it's, especially over a season when you think of it, like it's a long season, playing Northern League, and it's, it's a lot of commitment, isn't it? And lads give up a lot of the time.
Yeah, definitely. No, they really do.
And it was just, we're all devastated, like, and some, but, you look back at it and you think over a season, you end up where you deserve. We could have won probably that, throughout before that. I think we got beat off seeing Red Star, who were bottom of the league at the time, and prior to that, and a few other games where you're dropping points, and so in the end, overall, you always deserve, So obviously Benfield picked it last game of the season. I think they scored in the last few minutes, but that's where they deserve to win. If that's the case throughout the full amount of games.
Definitely. And Dave just mentioned they're one of the nicest lads in football I've ever met as well. It was very nice talking to you, actually, David, on social media as well. Really nice as well.
Yeah, he's a top lad. Yeah, he's a top lad, Davey.
Top one. Well, that's it. It's all good. After a few seasons, obviously you leave for Brighton. At that point, did you feel after so many years of Consett, you just needed a kind of a new challenge at that point?
No, to be honest, I didn't want. This is the thing with Consett. I've never ever wanted to leave there or out like that. So, this is the thing with Kenny. Obviously, get along with Mint, and I've got loads of time with Kenny. But I always felt if he signed someone or a centre midfielder, I knew it was me that was going to be out. Now could think from that. So he signed a centre midfielder. He signed two actually, and I was like, I was the one that was just. I went from having that when we had that great season, like the one where, like I say, it was the best team I played. I got Player of the Year. I had two good seasons. Then from that, I just went not needed anymore. This kind of thing. So I've been happy just to have us round. Just for the banter and stuff like that. But I wanted to play football, really, That's,
exactly. Yeah.
That's what it's about. You don't want to just be one of them that's kind of just there for the money or whatever like that. So I went to Brighton. I knew Dale Burrell was there. Dale's another lad from Winlayton, and obviously another fantastic football. And there was a couple of others that I knew from there as well. So I just thought, you know what? I got some more like offers, and Benfield obviously who just won the league offered us to go, but I just thought, I'm just going to go there. It's literally on my doorstep, so
go and enjoy it, don't you?
Yeah. Do you know what? I absolutely loved it when I was there. For the players we had there, we didn't do well at all, but we had a good changing room, and I love Barry and Pokes as well. Just two absolute great blokes, and and obviously Mars comes along with them as well, even though he was captain at the time and stuff like that. But like a bit like a threesome, and just like all total diamonds, and especially Mars, someone I keep in touch with, at the States, kind of. But we should have done better as a team. We had a lot of good players there who've kind of went on, and done well really within like normally. But at time, it just didn't really happen for him.
Just didn't click. That's it.
Yeah.
And Aidan just mentioned there, Rob was a top lad. Looked after me when I came over here. Lovely fella as well. Some great messages coming in. Really nice to read through them as well. But yeah, going back to Consett now, the later stages between 2011 2014, and we obviously mentioned just picked that first season to Spenny by the title, 15th, 9th, 11th. But it was kind of at this point now where teams were starting to put a lot of money into their budgets to try and improve and go up. We had the likes of Darlow do it, Spenny, Shildon, Celtic Nation came around for that one season, and they were just spending big money to move up. At that point, was it hard for teams that weren't spending as much to kind of compete with them type of teams and the money that they were spending?
When I first went back after writing a Consett, it was tough. I mean, Spennymoor it was like a Durham team, but with an added few, like that Peacock and Ruddy, and they were just like great. They just had a great teammate, and just well drilled and everything. But we just had now we went there, we just had a good togetherness Consett, to be honest. And I wouldn't say it's the best team I've played in, but we just all looked after each other and we're just all honest lads. And at the time, to be fair, we had, I don't know if you remember when Louis Teasdale came up on the scene, to be honest. He was 18 years old.
Yes.
Honestly, at that age, I've probably never seen a better footballer, just someone just pure raw ability and everything. He just had it all. We played Spennymoor and we beat them at their place 3-1, and I think he scored 2 or 3 actually. Louis tore them to bits, and throughout that season we pushed them all away, and we're probably punching above the weight, to be honest. But we just had that togetherness where we're playing in games, we're nicking the odd game, like 2-1, 3-2 last minute goals. We've done that, and then like I say that we played at our place and they beat with, and they end up beating with the league by a bit in the end, but. Then from that, it would feel like the muscle power, I suppose, of like money, like I say, of like, especially Darlow coming in, like like when Darlow come up, we played them early on the season. And do you know what? It was brilliant though. In one aspect, they give with 2 spankings, like, but they brought like about 1,000 people.
It's good playing against, isn't it? Yeah,
and it was a fantastic atmosphere. But I mean, it was when we got beat 3-0 at home, given a bit of a game, but when we played away, man, Jesus, I think we used to get about 2,500 or something like that. We've had kick-off, and I'm kidding, like, I don't know how we've lost the ball, but they've went up and scored straight away. And there's like 2,000 arguing it like, easy. And I was like, oh, hey. Literally, we had kick-off again. They went up and scored again. And I'm not kidding, they've done that, and I think they were 4-0 up after 10 minutes. I was like, this is going to be the longest game of football ever, and just, getting absolutely slaughtered and everything off the Darlow fans. But it was great to have that, and it shows that's what football is all about, and it's people's life, do you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And at the fact the proper football fans who come to watch them during them times and stuff like that, and that stuck with them, and it was great to see them that they've stuck throughout them to where they are now, but they were, you could see they were always going to go up. And then Spenny was the same. The likes of, because you could tell they had good characters and stuff like that. The likes of that Celtic Nation, for me, like, I used to love playing against teams like that because I knew that they were all on massive money. Like, they couldn't care less who they were playing with or out like that. So it was a matter of fact of just like, look, get stuck into these a day. One of them first tackles, it was like, that's get into one of them, set the tone and stuff like that, and they wouldn't want to know. Used to play against teams like that. I used to beat them, like, because I just, they didn't have that togetherness. Do you know what I mean? So they were pumping a hell of a lot of money around, getting all these players who just come from playing pro and stuff like that, but they fell off the wayside, really, because I think the fact that they weren't really getting that success that they probably thought they were going to get.
I know we had Bobby Moore, and he said like the people just travelling from all over the place, and like there was just nothing kind of gelling it together because someone was coming like 50 miles from that way. You only had to train so many times a week if you were living that way, and they couldn't get that togetherness to kind of push on.
No, do you know what? Like, it's bang on. Like, it's kind of, you need that, like, that togetherness, like, of having them nights out or whatever like that, or a few pints after the game, or whatever like that. You need that togetherness and build that to keep, to get, like I say, to get them extra points throughout the season. The fact, if they just pick up the packet and away they go.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not bothered about the club or out like that. They're just there. They just want that money. And for me, like, that's when it was like, they probably wouldn't appreciate of what non-leagues about, in the sense of, you know, non-leagues got some of the, like, for me, like, absolute great men and women who, like, volunteers, you know, who help out with these football clubs. They dedicate their lives to them, you know. And
Definitely.
it's kind of, you know, and I feel like when clubs like that, the way they've gone around, you've seen it in the past. I don't know what it's like now, but always felt for the people who were kind of running them clubs. I felt like, you know, there was no, like, club unity there for them, really.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, you're 100% right. Dave was asking asking about the big tackles.
I love the tackle. Like, that was it. That was that's what I used to get told all the time. Just like tackle, and
Get stuck in.
that's the way I get stuck in. That's the way I trained as well. I used to get loads of scraps and that when I was playing pro and stuff like that, because that's how I trained. You know, like, kind of, and that's just the way I was, basically. You know, but that was, I used to get told that all the time. Me was the first tackle, set the tone of the game, get the first tackle in. And, but it's like, out, isn't it? You watch the tune or whatever like that, or a game of football, someone puts a good tackle in, the crowd just buzzes off at the
goal,
lift,
isn't it? Class.
Yeah, exactly, the lift. And that's a time, I mean, I wouldn't be able to play football now because you can't really tackle, really. But, you know, if you see someone do that, put that bit of effort in, and get that response off the crowd, it just lifts everything and it changes the tempo of the game.
No, it is. It really helps. At the back end of the 2014 season, you moved to Wickham, then on to Ashton. But like you say, you only stayed there a couple of months. Then into the season, a bad knee injury ended your season. Did you kind of know straight away after that was kind of wasn't a serious injury at that point?
Yeah. When I first went to Wickham, same again. Like, obviously with Consett, you know, I didn't want to leave, but it was kind of someone else come in, and it was, you know, I got sacked off again, basically. So, like I say, I just want to play football. So I had, again, other offers, but I was good friends with Robin Falkus. So I just, I thought, you know what, for the rest of the season, I'm going to get some games and play with Robin. He was obviously I've known him for years, family friend. And I played, like I say, when I was a young'un, Sunday morning football, I played for his dad's team, Sunday morning team.
Right.
Which is Lesham Lane. So I went there with Robin and stuff like that, and loved it. Robin's an absolute diamond of a bloke and a great manager as well. Reminds a bit like Brian, to be honest. He's just got that knack of getting the best out of people, you know, making them feel important. He gets that discipline out of them, but he's a great crack with the lads as well. You know, he just balances it absolutely spot on, and he's I mean, what he achieved, you know, with Wickham and all that, he's done a fantastic job from where he took them from. But like I say, I stayed there anyways till the end of the season. Then it come round for Asherton, and Midler was one who always trying to get us, Gary Middleton, try and get us to sign for Asherton. And great football coach. You can tell the way he always played against the teams that always played good football. So I went there in pre-season, really loving it. I mean, Andrew Johnson was there, Glenn Taylor.
Oh, yes,
they had a cracking team, like, you know, doing it. And then it was about 5 games in. I think we played Crewe. Now, already done me knee a few times. Like, it was a tackle that, it was one of them, looking back now, I should have never went in for. It was probably 80-20 in his favour, but I just went for it. And I come far worse off, like, and that was it. I just knew. I was thinking, like, and I just struggled to come back from that. You know, it's, I think it was the 3rd or 4th time I'd done my knee ligaments. And I struggled to get back from that. I mean, after that as well, I even went to, and this is what Peter Beards is like, I hadn't seen him for years or anything like that. Asherton played Newcastle in the Senior Cup. And I see he was involved at the time at the club, and was telling what happened. And he just literally just rang us the next day, and he was like, "Look, I've come to the training ground, first team training ground tomorrow. I'll get you seen off the physio and stuff like that." Class. So he got us into the club years later, mate. You know, that's the type of bloke that he is and stuff like that. Was just great, you know. But I just never really recovered from it to play that. So it was kind of, you know, that's when I thought, right, I just need to take a back step and just kind of. I never done now for a year or over, really, from there.
That's it. Daniel's mentioned as well, great player. Another message coming in there as well. Your next step, management, yourself and former teammate Carl Pisha take over, obviously, and finish 16th. Did you enjoy your spell in management there?
You know, I didn't know if I did, really, like, to be honest. I think I started running the Sunday morning football team, and, you know, I'm getting back into football. I got that buzz again and stuff like that.
You do, yeah.
it's like, do you want to take on this? And I asked Robin about it. I went, what do you think? And I asked a few people, and they kind of pied us off it. But now when you just obviously have that love for football and you've missed it, I've done it for years. I was just like, right, I'm going to go for it. Going to give it a go. And I give it a go and stuff like that. And Peter was there. Obviously, Peter's one of my best mates, and come in. Fantastic to have around Peter, because like, he's a good motivator. He's good, he's good with his voice, talking away. But it was just tough, the fact where you go from, like, a lot of our connections were, no disrespect to the lads, but it was second division, like, it was like second division Northern League, where all the connections were like first division, and we're paying £10 a week. So it's kind of, and it was tough for that. And so you're looking around local lads, but you want to improve the team. I was just like, I want to get, I didn't want to be staying in this league, to be honest, and I wanted the club to think, right, we're going to try and move on. But, it was probably that thinking from me, really, because they're a small local club. It's anything you need a big backer, really, to come in and say, yeah, there's the money for you. So I got along with all the lads, great. It was just, I think it was just probably just thought I was 31 or something like that, really. I was just probably a bit too young for it, a bit too soon, to be honest. But I loved it. I mean, we had this coach there as well, and like, he used to like, get all the board up and that, and like, you got to do this, like, make the overlaps and all that. And I'm like, and I was just like, look, like, it's great what he says, but for me, it's like, you've got to give you 100% all the time. If you don't give 100%, if you don't look after your teammates, what's the point in like all that? None of that's going to work. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, that's for me what football was like. And I mean, I played football, and the way I played was just like, I tried to play as simple as I could all the time. And it goes back to like a lad I met through a mate at Carlisle, who he was one who got a transfer, actually moved from, he's called Paul Reed. I think he was coach of Sunderland not long ago. He went from, he got a transfer from Carlisle to Rangers. They bought him for £1 million quid. And he says that the first thing he got told up there was just like, look, you've got the ball. You've got 10 other players who's wearing a blue shirt. Pass it to them. Pass it to one of them. If they're not doing it or whatever like that, moving, then that's their fault. And I just thought, what, like, that stuck us forever. It's so true, it's kind of, when you think it would makes it sound simple, you've like, just keep the ball moving, just find like another person who's wearing the same shirt as you. And that was that's all I would ask of the lads, like, just try and keep the ball moving and just give us 100%. Basically, give us 100% and give your teammates 100% and just respect. And I think if you get that, you'll do well. But unfortunately, it was just kind of, it was never going to kind of go the way I wanted to go, in the sense of moving up and up. I think I would have just been stuck there for so long. So for me, in the end, that wasn't really worth my while, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's it. And like you say, then you go later on in the stage, join Wigan, assistant manager player as well, 2007-19. Did you feel like you had a good time there as well?
No, I mean, I say Robin's a bit like Brian, to be fair. Robin always build us up, and he just done that with loads of players. He had them playing great. And obviously that season, we got promoted, and we were never the third best team in the league or whatever like that. But we just done well. He was just exactly what I was, just grafting our horses off for each other. And he had a great team spirit there, like great team spirit. And that's what he massively prided himself on, Robin. Like, he was in that. I went in, first of all, it's kind of just, assisted in the background, the odd word here and then. And it felt where we played Bilnham Town away, and we were short. I think we had 11, 12 players. So I ended up playing. I mean, God, compared to what I played when I Consett, I mean, thought I would have ate myself, basically, a big gut and that. But I kind of, I got through it, and I surprised myself. So I started playing, and he was managed as great. He wasn't playing us all the time, because obviously he hadn't played for a while, easing us in. But then I think it was after about 15 games, I was doing really well. And I was 33-year-old, mate. Honestly, I've never bought a pair of football boots in my life. My last got us a pair of football boots for Christmas, right? Honestly, I was absolutely buzzing. I've never had out like that since I was a bairn. Literally next game, just that was getting me knee went again, and just done from there, and I just thought, no more playing but still like kind of part of it throughout the season. And that, like, I have to give credit to Robin again. Like, he's just, you know, he's done fantastic at Wigan Football Club, and it was a massive shame, obviously, to see him leave there, because in the end, he made that football club in my eyes, like, for the where it was and stuff like that. He was just kind of, he got it from them scraping to stay in that second division all the time, scraping round, and he just like built it up and up, and he's just, you know, he done an amazing job to get them promoted. And obviously, look at them now. I know they've got a bit of financial backing behind them, but, you know, for me, that's Robin Falkus that's built that. You know, he's done an absolutely amazing job, like.
No, really, really good. Anthony just mentioned there, Connie Army legend as well. Some great comments coming in, really good. Now finishing off with which I love, which is the quick fire round. Absolutely some amazing kind of answers that we get from anyone that comes on as well. Just before we do, honestly, I just want to say again a massive thank you to everyone that's been watching. We nearly hit 30 there not long ago. Absolutely fantastic support for the channel. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button as well. But yeah, getting on a quick fire, I can imagine there's going to be some great answers here. Like you mentioned, the Consett players that you played with. So I'm really looking forward to question number 2 in a moment. But starting with question 1, who would be the best manager that you work under?
Yeah. Do you know, like, if I go, like, obviously from playing like in the early years of pro, like I would say like Kenny and Pedro, just to the fact of like looking after us, and they're just, you know, they were just good man managers to me. And I know obviously they had the issues with the club, but they were great in that sense. And like, you know, they were tough with it, but they understand everyone's issues. And Pedro was great in the sense of helping people, staying behind, extra training, whatever. You know, he was just great in that sense. And like, they were just like, and I really enjoyed playing football for them. At the, regardless whether how much game time I was getting, they were just 2 absolute great blokes. You know, then I would probably say, like, from playing Northern League and obviously non-league, I would say Brian, like from the early days. Brian that's where I probably played some of my best football, and he was just a top bloke who literally got the best out of us, like, and like, you know, he's just like I say, he was a top bloke, and just, you know, everyone knew where they stood with Brian. It was just like, you know, he just demanded that, you know, that passion off you, you know, that he had and stuff like that. And it was just, and he always got that. And we've got some great results in a tough league, basically, as well there. And so I'd say them, to be honest.
Yeah. Question 2 then, best teammate that you've played with?
Oh, best teammate. Obviously, I would say I'll go do the 2 again if I don't mind. I would probably say from Newcastle, I would say Chopra when I was there. He was just next level of his movement, his touch, like everything was just. I mean, his finishing was just ridiculous. Like, you know, he was just so good. Like, you know, he just had one of them things of like run with the ball, and he would just, people would try and tackle him, he could ride them tackles, and you know, he had everything basically. He should have done a lot better than what he probably did. He'd probably admit that himself. Do you know what I mean? I think that he got hyped up so much beforehand. He was meant to be obviously the next Alan Shearer, I would say, like, you know, and the crowd, but unfortunately never happened from. But I mean, God, he's had some amazing memories playing for the first team at Newcastle.
Definitely.
But I would probably say overall the best player that I played with, who was from Consett, and I would just say, like, of the complete footballer, obviously big for Consett, and the fact of like one that Consett couldn't do without. If we didn't have him there, we would have felt a bit. He kept it together, and he kept winning games. You know, he was a fantastic leader and just a great, you know, great all-round player. But I would have to say Gary Ormston, just of everything. He could head, he could tackle, his touch was ridiculous. His passing was on point all the time. He was just, honestly, he was just brilliant. He could do everything. And I mean, it showed he played till, God, I think he only finished last year. And I think he's a year older than me, guys. And we used to, at Consett, used to have good friendlies all the time, play like Newcastle, Hartlepool, Sunderland sometimes. He was the best player on the field all the time. All the time when we played him, honestly, he was the one that stood out. Like, his touch was just unbelievable. Like, and he is actually the nicest bloke you'll ever meet in football. Absolute diamond of a kid, like, but such a good footballer.
Really good. Just before we get into question 3, Stig, how come your Wi-Fi is so shite when you work for BT? I was laughing when that one came through. I seen it come through. Question 3, the best opposition player that you played against, that person that you just couldn't get the best of.
Yeah, I would probably go the same again. I thought about trying to think. So the first one was Stuart Downing when we played against Middlesbrough. Couldn't remember him, or I'd never heard of him beforehand. But when we played at St James's, he was head and shoulders above everyone else. Literally, he was just gliding past people. He was unbelievable, and just the way he was striking a ball and everything, you could just tell he was destined to be a top footballer. Like left foot, like I've never seen, to be honest. He was, like I say, he was one that always sticks in my mind of that game that he played. He was just like, obviously, and then he went on to have a great career playing for England and everything, but he was fantastic. I would say non-league, and I played with him actually when we were youngins at the county, and for me, he was quality. Gav Cogden. Literally, I think he just had everything. Literally everything. Like he had, like, for the size of him, like he could like run with the ball. He had great balance, but he could head a ball. He could get up and head it. He could tackle. He was dirty actually as well when he played. He'd look after himself, but like either foot. And I've seen him sometimes score some unbelievable goals, just like, dribbling around players and stuff like that. And honestly, it was just, when we were youngins, and obviously we played at the county together, and I've went to Newcastle, and he's not, and I felt like, well, how have I getting in here? And he hasn't, because I'm not kidding. It's obviously must have been a size thing for him. He was absolutely brilliant at football. He was just so good. Honestly, it was like he's the one that I think I can't believe that he never made it to that next level.
We've had a few on literally exactly the same things being said, like cracking player, really good player. Number 4, best footballer moment.
The one I started with, saying for Newcastle.
Yeah.
Like, hands down, that's just that one. Wearing that black and white shirt, like playing at St James. But like that moment of signing, just after being on trial and that relief and just everything, and having my family there with us was just like a special moment. Like the one obviously I look on massively now, and I'm just like really, really grateful for, like.
Class. And number 5, your funniest footballing moment.
And I thought about this, and it's obviously a lot of them obviously can't repeat, but I would say the weirdest one, I would probably say, Marco might remember this. It was my first game for Bedlington, and they were playing in the Vors, and I think the manager at the time was like called Keith Perry. He had like a Tesco bag with him, like coming in the changing room, and he got all stood up, arms around each other like a huddle. Now when someone's got like a proper strong Asian accent, couldn't understand a word he was saying or out like that. And he was like screaming on. He just started getting his eggs and like throwing them off the floor, going on doing his team talk, and then and I was just pissing myself laughing, and everyone else was, and then he just like screamed like, "Come on!" We just all went out. But I was thinking, what the fuck's just went on there? Like, what's he done? Like, why a Tesco bag with a bunch of eggs? Like, just like, honestly, it was just bizarre thing. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it again after that.
Oh, there you go, Mark. Yeah, that was crazy, that. Class, man. Some great memories. But, Craig, honestly, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Honestly, some cracking stories, memories as well. We'd love to get you back on again and go through the Newcastle. I know, obviously, we do the non-league stuff, but also the Newcastle content on the channel as well. So we'd love to get you at some point and go through the few years that you had at Newcastle. That would be great as well.
No problem. Yeah,
excellent. But again, thank you so much.
No, do you know what? I was thinking, like, talking away and that would be a nightmare, but it's went well, mate. I appreciate your time on that as well.
But no, honestly, thank you to the sponsors, everyone that supported it as well, as on the channel. Lots coming up. Probably mention some of these names. You probably know some as well. Sunday we've got senior manager Mark Collingwood coming on, talking about his time at Seaham and the plans for the club as well. Next Thursday, Heat and Stand special. Scott Linden coming on to speak about the club and their aims as well. Sunday after, we've got Leon Ryan on, great career in the Northern League, obviously, so many trophies as well. And then obviously this Thursday afterwards, I'm trying to remember that we've got that many coming on. We're fully booked up. It's absolutely unbelievable. The support on the channel at the moment.
You know what? It's
as well.
like I say, Northern Leagues, like got some good. It's had some great footballers in, mate. And I always think this with all league, the fact that like it's been up north. You know, there's not many clubs up here. I think if a lot of them would like live down Manchester or Liverpool, there would have been pro footballers. Guaranteed. 100%. I think up north we're forgotten about, and that's why over years in the Vars and stuff like that, the Northeast has always done well because of them. Like things, we've got such a good talent in football up here. You know, and it's like I say, you obviously I've seen some of the names. You've got some absolute like proper good footballers on there.
Definitely. Like you say, we've got, I think after Leon Ryan, we've got Stephen Capper on, and then Mark Anderson as well, who's played in the States, which is should have some cracking stories. As well. I was trying to book a bit further on in February. We've got to be careful with this. Obviously, the League Cup final coming up when I was semi-final. We're doing that well at the minute. Newcastle, innit? Got to be careful.
I know. Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed he's doing well, like.
Mark just mentioned, well, get me on, we'll speak about the red cards. No, definitely get your Mark on. We'd love to have a chat with you as well. But honestly, again, thank you so much, everyone that's been watching. Really appreciate your support. And if you're watching the back as well, thank you so much. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button as well. Well, Craig, thank you so much for coming on, and everybody enjoy the rest of your night as well.
Spot on. Cheers, James.